Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Fletcher, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. For the first time since I've been hosting, I've never ever really had to do any of these type of memorial moments and to report bad news. Today, we all in the wrestling world were shocked, stunned, saddened, and even heartbroken over the news of one of the all-time greats in professional wrestling passing away. Bruno Sammartino, a living legend, an icon, a WWE Hall of Famer, and a Hall of Famer of many wrestling organizations from around the world, and one of the original faces of the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, back in the 1960s, 1970s, dating back to even earlier than that. Some of the matches that he had were legendary. From Stand the Man to Killer Kowalski to being one of the very few that was able to sell out the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Come in. And for thus, and what this evening means, it's heartbreaking. So, as always, I want to welcome you guys to the show. Anthony Florio is with me. I'm hoping that we can get Michael Bullock in about a matter of minutes, but we don't know for sure. But whatever the case, let me just run down the list of accomplishments, and let me tell you guys, there is a lot, so just bear with me for the time being as I try to pull up the greatest, what I believe is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of our generation, of our time. One of the greatest individuals that the world has ever met, Bruno Sammartino. Basically, Bruno Sammartino, born in 1935, October 6, 1935, worked for back then Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Was a two-time champion of the WWF heavyweight title. He held it for more than 11 years. A total combined days of 4,040 days, which one of them was 2,803 days. Known as the living legend in his time in professional wrestling. Grand Prix Wrestling, he was the GPW Tag Team Champion one time. He was inducted in the International Sports Hall of Fame in 2013. Maple Leaf Wrestling, he was the International Tag Team Champion in the Toronto version with Wimpy Billy Watson one time, and he was the Maple Leaf United States champion in the Toronto version one time. In the NWA Hollywood, he won the 1972 Los Angeles Battle Royale. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the most inspirational wrestler in 1976. Got Match of the Year accolades in 1972 because of that Battle Royale that I was talking about. 1975, as he fought Spiro Aaron. 1976, when he fought in Queens, New York, against Stan the Man Hansen. 1977 in Baltimore, Maryland, oddly enough, on my birthday, April 30th, 1977, when he fought superstar Billy Graham. Of course, the fight of the year, match of the year in 1980, the showdown at Shea Stadium, the steel cage fight against Larry Zbyszko was the winner of the Stanley Watson Award in 1981. Wrestler of the Year accolades in 1974. PW top 200 stars of the 500 in the PWI years in 2003. Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum class of 2002. Worldwide Wrestling Alliance Hall of Fame class of 2008. In WWE or WWF or WWE days, International Tag Team Champion on 2 different occasions. One against Tony Marino, one against Dominic Danuzzi. The other time, he was the United States Tag Team Champion one time, which was against with Spiros Agnew. Of course, the Hall of Fame induction in 2013, and more importantly, the WWF Heavyweight Champion on 2 different occasions. Basically, the greatest of our time. World Wrestling Alliance in Indianapolis as a World Tag Team Champion with Dick the Bruiser. Wrestling Observer Newsletter Feud of the Year in 1980 with Larry Zbyszko, and was inducted in the Wrestling Observer Newsletter's Hall of Fame in 1996. He has been immortalized by receiving one of the bronze statues in WWE. And let me tell you, a bronze statue, very rare. Only 5 has received that glorious honor. Andre the Giant in 2013, The Ultimate Warrior in 2015, Dusty Rhodes 2016, and most recently, Ric Flair just a couple of years ago, all during WrestleMania Access. Bruno Sammartino gone at the age of 82. There's really nothing more to say. He is, without a doubt, what professional wrestling was way back in the day. Bruno Sammartino will forever be an icon, a legend, and definitely in the 1960s and 1970s with Vince McMahon Sr., he paved the way for what professional wrestling is today. And for that, my heart goes out to Carol Sammartino, his wife, his 3 children, and his 3 children. Man, what a day. Was trained by Ace Freeman and Rex Perry. Started wrestling in 1959. His last match was back in 1987. My goodness. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, please come on in. We lost a legend. We lost a legend today. Bruno Sammartino passing away at the age of 82. It's all yours, my friend.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt. I mean, we didn't just lose a legend. We lost professional wrestling's only living legend in Bruno Sammartino. And we weren't born when he was in his heyday. When we were born, he was at the tail end of his career. And I remember some things that I do remember. WrestleMania 1, he was in the corner of his son David. David Sammartino was in a match at WrestleMania 1 against then known as Brutus Beefcake, who went on to become the Barber, of course, and those other gimmicks of his. And Bruno was in his corner, and he ended up getting involved as the bout progressed, resulting in a no contest, a double DQ. And He was a trainer. He trained his son for that match. WrestleMania 2, you remember he was in that infamous Battle Royale in Chicago, that NFL versus WWF Battle Royal that ultimately was won by Andre the Giant. And he was in that match. Had a solid outing, I'll be honest. And of course, one of the things that I also remember, one of his last feuds, you said in 1987 was his last bout. One of his last feuds was with, of all people, Macho Man Randy Savage. Because there was a backstage moment where Bruno got in Macho's face because of what he did to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat when he crushed his larynx and all that with the ring bell. San Martino was so livid at that. He got in Macho's face. Punches were thrown, and then they ended up having some matches and some house shows. And I remember one where Bruno actually challenged Macho for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in the old Boston Garden. I believe it's on that one of those Intercontinental Championship DVDs. I remember. I believe I had that in my archives. So those are some memories that I remember. Maybe one of the greatest world heavyweight champions of all time, the greatest WWE champion of all time, as far as I'm concerned, because of the reign. I mean, you said it, 2,803 days. No one's ever going to touch that. I mean, the closest anybody's come to that was like Hogan. Hogan had it like for like 2,400 days or something like that. Bob Backlund had it for about 2,400 to 2,500 days. And no one is ever going to touch what Bruno did for the World Heavyweight Championship. Selling out Madison Square Garden 188 times, 187, 188 times. I mean, headlining it over 200 times. I think it was like 211 times. And he's the one who put Madison Square Garden, him working in Madison Square Garden and doing all that. I came across an interesting comment today. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I do remember somebody saying, without Bruno Sammartino, would this business be as it is today? I mean, he was one of the first to pave the way for, future legends and, of course, the current crop of talent nowadays. And, he did so much for the business and the American dream. I mean, he was from Italy. And, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the man who inducted Bruno Sammartino into the Hall of Fame. Bullock and I, we always have some fun with that. And Arnold talked about how Bruno was the American dream, and that's exactly what he was. I mean, he lived the American dream despite being from Italy. I mean, he escaped Nazis and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's unreal. And, everybody commenting on his passing. I mean, Vince McMahon, Triple H, even Corey Graves. Corey Graves even actually said some words. Says he actually owes a debt of gratitude to Bruno Sammartino because, his father was a big fan of Bruno Sammartino, and he got to meet him, as a little boy. And Corey said because of Bruno Sammartino, that's when my love of professional wrestling came in. And look where Corey Graves is nowadays. So I think we owe a lot of gratitude to the living legend himself for that. So, I mean, so many great stories. I mean, MF, you pretty much you pretty much went down everything. All the accomplishments and everything else, all the Hall of Fames, all the championships he won, and just one of the all-around nicest guys of all. One of the nicest guys you would have ever gotten a chance to meet. I mean, that would have been so cool if we got to meet him. And he also did commentary. Don't forget, he also worked with Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body Ventura on the old Superstars of Wrestling in right around 87 or so, in 88. You can see some of those on YouTube. I've seen there's a couple of guys on YouTube that I follow, who I subscribe to because of the outstanding content that these gentlemen have, old school content. And there were even some matches where Jesse the Body Ventura was a lead commentator, and Bruno Sammartino was the analyst. I mean, now that's pretty cool stuff. I mean, I've seen a few of those. They're really great. We'll definitely get into that in the future, but an all around wonderful man, a humble man, and it's a damn shame that his Hall of Fame induction took forever and a day because he was so stubborn, you know. But he felt a certain way about the product, and you know he stood for what he believed in, and Triple H was the one who spearheaded him getting into the Hall of Fame. I mean, Triple H, if it wasn't for Hunter, who knows? Would Bruno even be in the Hall of Fame today? I don't know. But Andre the Giant may have been the first inductee overall in '93, but in my honest opinion, you could have easily made an argument for Bruno Sammartino to be the very first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. But 20 years later, in 2013, in Madison Square Garden, he finally got his moment. Arnold with the induction, and you know, Bullock and I used to have a lot of fun with it. So, you know, relive that on the WWE Network, YouTube, what have you. It's a great moment. So, yeah, I mean, when I heard about it, I mean, you know, I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say. I mean, it was on my mind. It resonated throughout the day. So, nothing really more to say except rest in peace, living legend, and you know, to his wife and his children, including David, who we got to see at WrestleMania 1 against Brudai. So, yeah, my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the Sammartino family, his friends, and anybody who was fortunate enough to call him a colleague in the world of professional wrestling. So, Godspeed, Bruno Sammartino. We'll never forget you. And of course, as we always say, thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Bruno Sammartino. Now, nothing more to say, so let's move on to pleasanter things, MF. And a big night last night at the Dunk. What a blessing it was, and let's get into it.
All right, we started it off Smackdown live from the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. Started out with AJ Styles cutting a promo. Well, try to cut out a promo, but we were there. He got pretty drowned out by a raucous crowd. Yes, the SRO signs was indeed up, but to get a chance, you know, he talked about, you know, Shinsuke Nakamura, you know, calling him a con artist, you know, saying that, you know, it really was, you know, an interesting thing. And it was actually interesting because you had dueling chants of Nakamura, AJ Styles, and I guess, you know, it kind of was like pretty awesome. Then they his fight with Daniel Bryan, how that was going to be a big fight, but Nakamura got involved in that. So he basically calls out Nakamura, you know, calls him a two-faced coward, and, you know, meet me in the ring, fight me. Well, let's just say there was an interruption. Aiden English comes out with Rusev, big pop for Rusev, and then, you know, Aiden English, Anthony got to hear him do his Luciano Pavarotti, Robert Goulet shtick, you know, talking about that Nakamura went on vacation anywhere but Providence vacation. Yeah, that got us a little peeved. But then, you know, next thing we know, you know, that's the question. What day is today? Yeah, everybody pretty much was yelling Rusev Day. So, you know, they're like, you want to fight? Let's do it. So, 2-for-1 deal. AJ Styles goes one-on-one with Rusev. AJ wins by DQ because Aiden English jumped in. 2-on-1 beatdown. Daniel Bryan makes the save, comes out and saves the WWE champion. All right, Anthony Floyo, I guess we can plot this all in one, but it was all right. Decent for what it was worth. I liked AJ Styles' promo. a little fire in the heart, the belly, whatnot. Of course, the fight is an NA because it was way too short and DQ finish, but it does pay off because we did get an announcement for something later in the evening. Thank you, new general manager of SmackDown Live, Paige, for that, as she had a backstage segment with Shane McMahon right then and there. So, go ahead, Floyo. Give me your thoughts on everything.
Well, I'll tell you what, Meth, it was a solid segment to kick off the show, and it set up the main event for the show. Like you said, AJ's promo was intense, and it was solid, and the match, of course, was an NR, a 30-second match, and Daniel Bryan came out, and place came apart, and then we saw the backstage segment with Shane O'Mac and Paige. I would have loved to have had them out there with us, but it is what it is. But she then makes the main event. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan teaming up against Aiden English and Rusev. So very interesting indeed. So, like I said, solid segment to kick off the show and set up the main event. So nothing really more to say. Let's move on. And I believe we're on the verge of our first superstar shakeup moment.
Oh yes, indeed, and this one was quite a shakeup. The next thing we had was Sheldon Benjamin coming out, and he addressed the WWE universe about what was said on Twitter. Calling Chad Gable an inspirational partner, and that he wished them nothing but the best, and took that saying that he had excitement and everything else, and basically, Sheldon Benjamin's like, you know what? I went to Paige and I asked for somebody big. Send me some big competition. Send me somebody good. So, at next up, Randy Orton comes out and he makes his way down the ring and gets about halfway there. His music stops abruptly. All right. So fans start chanting RKO, RKO. Oh no, the bomb went off, and it was none other than the brand new United States Heavyweight Champion, Jeff Hardy. That's right. The first superstar shakeup of the night was Jeff Hardy bringing back what's rightfully ours, the United States Heavyweight Championship, back to SmackDown Live. We had a match, and when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout at 8 minutes and 20 seconds, the United States champion, Jeff Hardy, he beats Sheldon Benjamin. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
All right. It's not often I do this, but I have to call it co-fight of the night. Co-fight of the night. I'm going to give this 2 3/4 to 3 stars. A pretty good match with the crowd being big time into Jeff as expected. I mean, we heard the pop he got. We damn near lost our minds when we saw it was him. And this is a win-win for both of us, MF. I mean, yes, you keep the United States Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown Live. You get a big-time superstar in Jeff Hardy. We know what he's capable of. We know his resume. And while you guys keep the U.S. title, it also keeps the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And the man who currently holds it, Monday Night Raw's #1 overall draft pick, the Kingslayer, Seth Rollins. I couldn't be any more happier about that, because when I saw Jinder on Monday night, I was like, oh no, don't tell me they're gonna swap Mahal for Rollins. I'm like, no, that's a big loss. But then when Jeff won the title, I was like, maybe Jeff Hardy goes to SmackDown Live? Prayer answered. Thank you, Lord, for this. I mean, yeah, it hurts to lose Jeff Hardy because of his body of work and his resume, but hey, as long as it keeps the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship and Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw, I'm for it. So, like I said, 3-star, 2 3/4 to a solid 3 stars. Co-fight of the night. It's not often I say that, but it's a co-fight of the night because there were only 2 really good matches on this show, and Both of them were about even par here. So, but this was a solid fight, though, no doubt about it. So, 2 3/4 to 3. Welcome to SmackDown Live, Jeff Hardy, and thank you WWE for not bringing the Intercontinental title or Seth Rollins to SmackDown Live. Thank you for keeping him on Raw. He is our number one pick overall. Praise the Lord. All right, MF, it's yours.
All right. Well, the next thing we had was a promo by The Miz, basically selfie style, as he got to show us his beautiful home in LA, his beautiful wife, Maurice, and yes, baby Monroe Sky. She actually was shown for the first time. Said that next week on SmackDown he was gonna deal with Daniel Bryan, and said that basically that he was gonna that if Daniel Bryan ever trolled him again, that he was gonna kick his ass. But then Maurice kind of scolded him because baby was there. So all right, you know what I mean. So then so the next thing we had was actually now Corey Graves, I guess, made the announcement on this, but we got to see it in the arena. The monitor popped up. Absolution has been selected in our family. Sonya Deville, and because Dee Dee Woodson's not here, I can get away with this. The Golden Goddess herself, Mandy Rose, Anthony Floyo's future wife. He was so devastated. I think just the look on his face said the whole story last night. He dropped his head and he was like, "No!" It was almost the classic Jim Rome. Oh, he was so bummed. Me and Michael Bullock was having, oh my god, did we have a time with that? Unfortunately for Florio, the Jeff Hardy hit probably wasn't that bad. This probably hurt Florio more than anything else to see Mandy Rose go bye bye. So, next thing we had was a one-on-one match: Jey Uso versus Luke Harper. Harper wins in about less than a minute. Beatdown segment starts breaking out. Then it looked like they were really gonna do damage to the Usos. They grabbed their Thor hammer like hammers, and then Naomi runs out begging and pleading for a stop. Please don't hurt my husband. Well, for once, they actually they were like, all right, cool. All right, we'll let you be. Anthony Florio. I know it's probably a dud and probably worst fight. Do you want to call cutout here? It's your
Yeah.
call.
Yes, cut out, cut out.
All right, so it is a cutout. Next thing we had was Sin Cara. Really? Sin Cara makes it. All right, no problem. Sin Cara makes his an appearance. So we're thinking, all right, so who's he gonna fight? We know it's gonna be maybe another superstar shakeup person. Oh my goodness. Who did he go up against? No other than the newest member of the SmackDown roster, the the man who does the coquita clutch, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. He crushes him in about 1 minute and 35 seconds. Obviously a dud. But what was not a dud, Joe cut a scathing promo on Live, calling it the land of handouts, and everyone on the roster happy. He says he was gonna choke out, he was gonna put to sleep people like O'Brien. defang Randy Orton that got under my skin. Then he said immaculate and decimate AJ Styles. Then he's like, if you don't believe that, then he was gonna do that to the big dog Roman Reigns, or he was gonna do that to Brock Lesnar at the Universal Championship. I guess he was a part of the four-way for the Intercontinental title, so that title is still up for grabs. And on top of that, he also talks about possibly, that he would tear the Universal title from the waist. So we'll wait and see what happens, but oh my God, I can't believe it. Wow, 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 wow. SmackDown Live. Oh, did you just got yourself a get. Anthony, you even talked about it. You even said it last night that this was huge.
Very huge. I mean, Samoa Joe is now on the same roster as AJ Styles, as Daniel Bryan, as Shinsuke Nakamura, Jeff Hardy. I mean, think of the possibilities of opponents that Joe can go up with. Randy Orton as well. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, the sky's the limit. And let's face it, yeah, he had a few moments here and there on Raw, but I think he's gonna shine on SmackDown Live. I really do. And yeah, he took care of Sin Cara no problem, and that was destruction. That's all there is to say on that. And this makes you a very happy man, MF. I mean, nobody has been a bigger supporter of Samoa Joe than you have. From his days in TNA, especially the night 10 years ago when he won the World Heavyweight Championship from Kurt Angle in that memorable lockdown six-eyed steel cage match in Lowell, Mass. That's the night where you became a Joe Mark, and rest is history. I mean, we did the chant. We did the Joe, Joe, Joe chant, and the Joe's going to kill you and all that. And yeah, he basically killed Sin Cara. That's all there is to say on that. So he did have a little botch. We talked about the Intercontinental Championship and Universal Championship and the whole 9 yards. So very, very bright future ahead for Samoa Joe. I think he was getting a little bit lost in the shuffle on Raw, although he did have a few moments here and there. When he attacked Rollins, when he debuted, being the heavy for Triple H for a little bit. And then, of course, that opportunity that he had against Brock Lesnar last summer at that surprisingly good Great Balls of Fire event. So, yeah, nothing really to say here. So, yeah, that's going to hurt Raw, absolutely, because he was a big gun. So, but I think now that he's on SmackDown Live with all that array of talent I just mentioned, especially AJ Styles, I would love to see another Joe and AJ rivalry. You thought their fights in TNA were something? Imagine what they'll do if they book Joe and AJ in the future on SmackDown Live. Whew. Wow. And that promo, oh, vintage Joe right there, screaming, barking. That's what he's been known for. So, well done. Another big pickup. And as we progress on, the rich are going to keep getting richer. Spoiler alert. Let's move on, MF.
All right, so we can this this show, and the next thing we had was basically a backstage segment, and Daniel Bryan was, talking with Renee Young about, why he helped AJ Styles and everything else. And they stopped for a minute, and Daniel turns around. All of a sudden, it was Big Cass. That's right. Big Cass is now on SmackDown Live. So he basically looks at Daniel Bryan, says, "So you're what's all the fuss about, little man?" And Cass walks away. All right. Looks like maybe Big Cass doesn't really appreciate the bearded one himself. Interesting. Next thing we had was Carmella basically comes out, cuts a promo, basically calling it the greatest moment of her career. You know how she boasted about waiting 287 days for the perfect moment, and how she beat Charlotte Flair, beat her all by herself. Then they did a nice little video package, you know, about the whole road that she did to win the Money in the Bank and the whole 9 yards. Then Charlotte comes out, basically cuts a promo for herself, only to be interrupted by the Iconics. Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, they both came out, uh, basically cutting a promo on both ladies cutting a promo on Charlotte. Well, led to a little bit of a chaotic scene, to say the very least. A fight breaks out. Next thing we know, Becky Lynch comes out to basically try to even up the odds. Carmella was just chilling in the ring the whole time with the belt, and these four Hellcats were basically ripping their heads out from each other. Four referees try to break this up. Forget it. You ain't breaking that up. So we actually get an impromptu fight, which was Charlotte Flair versus Billy Kay 1-on-1. Charlotte wins via this via some, I guess they said via submission, the figure eight. Carmella hits the ring, attacks Charlotte. Basically, it turns into basically another 3-on-2 beatdown, only for the Empress of Tomorrow to show up. Asuka makes her a debut. She's a part of the SmackDown Live family. She makes the save. Oh my God. The balance of power from the women's division has shifted from Raw to SmackDown. Now I think we can all agree SmackDown now definitely has the more powerful women's division now. So Anthony Florio, obviously the fight was a dud, no doubt about it. We don't have to talk about this. Let's just talk about it all in one pound swoop. So go ahead, it's all yours.
It was a segment that played off of last week's events, but it just wasn't, very good overall or all that interesting. But Carmella, though, Carmella was really good at making it impossible for us to like her. I mean, that was a positive there. The match wasn't as bad as you say it was, MF. I mean, it was a solid 2-star match. I mean, it was an okay match, but it did feel very lethargic and a bit repetitive on Billy Kay's end. But, not bad for her first outing. I'm sure we're going to see Peyton maybe next week. Maybe we'll see Peyton Royce against Becky Lynch. And then you get Asuka. Oh, my goodness. I said the rich keep getting richer, and that was proof of it. But this was expected. I mean, Asuka was the one. You remember what Asuka did last month at Fastlane? When she made her decision about which championship she was going to go after by virtue of her winning the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. She wanted Charlotte. She wanted the SmackDown Women's Championship. She went after it at WrestleMania. And the unthinkable happened. For the first time ever, she tasted defeat. Charlotte, not only did she lose, she tapped out. I mean, that was an amazing moment. That's a moment we'll never forget. And, oh my goodness, look at this. Carmella the champion. Now you've got Asuka. You've got Becky. You've got Charlotte. You've got Naomi. You've got the Iconics. Jesus. Sweet Jesus. That is a loaded women's division. But hey, we got a solid women's division of our own. Let's not, we can't just say, oh, SmackDown's far and away better. No. Monday Night Raw's got no slouches either. You got Nia Jax. You got Alexa Bliss. The rowdy one, Ronda Rousey. We just got Natty, which is a big veteran presence there. And of course, Mickey James is there, another veteran presence. You got still got Bailey and Sasha, you know their history. And once he comes back from injury, I mean, yeah, Alicia Fox. I mean, I know that's nothing big, but you know, on paper, SmackDown has the better talent, but let's not go and say SmackDown's far and away better because Raw, like I just said, has no slouches either. So, yeah, SmackDown's better, but hey, Raw is right there with you. That's all there is to say on that. Another division, far and away, SmackDown Live is absolutely better, absolutely. But when it comes to the women, SmackDown slightly by a smidge is better, mainly because of Asuka, Becky, Charlotte, Naomi. Those four alone can carry that division. The Iconics are a work in progress. Carmella, champion right now. So we'll see. So, but SmackDown Live, you won the jackpot. I mean, you remember how I felt back in October when I heard that Asuka was coming to Raw. You remember how I was freaking out, marking out in a good way. Well, last night MF got to feel that same joy I did back in October. So, congratulations, MF. What a steal for the women's division. The rich are going to keep getting richer as we move on.
And then it was very interesting to see how everything goes down. But what happens next, I mean, we get a whole bunch of graphics and interesting breakdowns because now this is where basically the explosions are happening all over the place when it comes to the superstar shakeup. Then after that, we get the announcement that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they're on their way to SmackDown Live. Then, of course, they're hyping some other stuff. Then the next thing we had was Sheamus and Cesaro. They were boasting about how, all the greatest teams on Raw, they're 4-time tag team champions. The next thing they announced, they're heading to SmackDown Live as well. The tag team division is blown to bits now, more than anything else. Then, this was the first doit moment of the night. As the New Days were clowning around backstage, they spotted the Immortal One. And they're like, "It's you! I can't believe it!" The next thing we know, it's R-Truth. Ugh. I'm like, I dropped my head. I'm like, all right, we were having such a good run. You knew we had to slip on a banana peel or two. This was one of the moments where I probably would be looking, probably give the side eye to Shane and Paige and say, really, R-Truth? But then I noticed something very interesting. They started doing a thing with him and Ty Dillinger, and they did a nice little what's up and the whole 9 yards. I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. Then R-Truth's like, you know what? I'm happy we're all together on Monday Night Raw. I'm like, oh no. And then Dillinger's like, dude, he's like, this is SmackDown Live. So R-Truth's like, my bad. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God. We need help. Serious help. Then the next thing we know, we get another monster bombshell here. Because next, the Superstar shakeup was, continuing mentioning everybody who is there. And they also mentioned Sanity. Sanity is heading to SmackDown Live. The rich is getting richer. However, This one also irks me a little bit. Yes, we get Killian Dane. Yes, we get Alexander Wolf. Yes, we get EY, Eric Young. We do not get Nikki Cross. Nikki gets left behind? No. Why? Nikki would be perfect for the women's division. I mean, okay, the women's division is strong, but Nikki deserves to be there. Nikki Cross on that women's division, that would have been like, that's another piece of the puzzle that we would have added. But don't worry. I know, I get it. It hurts. But this last one made my night more than anything else because we got the announcement that I was waiting for. I was begging for this one. Andres C. Almas and Selena Vega are coming to SmackDown Live. I wish they were there last night, but they weren't. And I'm so pissed about that too. But oh my God, that was the feather in the cap. That was it. There was nothing more to say. This is you could have ended it with Samoa Joe. You could have ended it with Jeff Hardy. No, they basically whitewashed Monday Night Raw in the Superstar Shakeup. They won it hands down. Won it all over the place. Um, Anthony Florio. Well, do you want to talk about them after, or do you want to cover it now?
After.
Okay, so let's go to the final thing of the night, which was our main event, which was the tag team fight. It was Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles versus Rusev. Yeah, versus Rusev and Aiden English. The fight gets thrown out. Interference. Uh, First, Shinsuke Nakamura basically hits AJ Styles below the belt again. Uh, but there was no DQ at that point. So what happened was then Daniel Bryan turns around, sees Big Cass. Big Cass hits Daniel with a big boot to the face. Referee Mike Chioda right there. Ring the bell. DQ finish. 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Oh, man. Ouch. Good match. Sucks how the ending went, but nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, give me your thoughts on the main event.
This is the other co-fight of the night, 2.75 to 3 stars for the effort. Let me find my note here. They had a pretty good match, which was going well until the DQ finish. Nakamura constantly low-blowing Styles and pretending like he doesn't speak English has been great for his heel turn. And it was also nice to see Rusev not take another loss. Good action throughout. 2.75, teetering on 3 stars. No question about it. Other co-fight of the night. So nothing more to say. So let's get into the overall review here.
All right, Anthony, I'm going to let you lead off. Give me your thoughts on the overall review.
Honestly, I can only give the show a 6 out of 10, mainly because of some of the clunky matches, because of the cutouts. That weighs heavily on this. But much like Monday Night Raw this week, I found this show as a very average show, with the main interest being in the roster changes and the Superstar Shakeup, and rightfully so. SmackDown, after the subtractions, after the talent that they lost to Monday Night Raw, was looking good. But now, with the additions, with some really great additions, they come across as even stronger. These shows this week were essentially reset shows, and hopefully, when we get to Raw Monday night in St. Louis, and next week SmackDown Live in Louisville, hopefully things will start picking up next week. And with this new roster, SmackDown Live should be primed for a run of great shows going forward. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. SmackDown Live clearly won the the Superstar Shakeup. You got The Miz back. You got Jeff Hardy. You got Absolution. You got Samoa Joe. You got Sanity. Big Cass back from injury. Asuka, the Good Brothers, The Bar, R-Truth, Andrade Cien Almas, and Zelina Vega. You only got what, one meh name in R-Truth? Other than R-Truth, every name on this list, on that list that I just reeled off to you folks. Oh my goodness. Oh, Raw got hit hard. It was almost like Shinsuke Nakamura gave Raw a low blow. That's all there is to say on that. And Raw, all Raw got were a bunch of a lot of second-rate talent. I mean, Jinder Mahal, second-rate talent. Breezango, beyond second-rate talent. The Ascension, second-rate talent. And Zack Ryder, second-rate talent. Sorry to say. I don't really have the heart to go on Canellis. I mean, I'm willing to give him a chance. Hopefully, he can be like the Mike Bennett in TNA. That's all I can say. Mojo Rawley, that's a second-rate talent, but we did get a few winners. With the Riot Squad and Natty, Dolph Ziggler, new and improved Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin. Of course, the big steal that we got was Bobby Roode, awesome, and an improving Chad Gable. So, and I'm hopeful that we can see him and Jordan reform American Alpha when Jordan gets back from his injury. So, we'll see. But right now, no question about it, with the exception of only one bad name, MF. Every name on that list that you guys got, whoa, Nelly. I got a bad feeling. I mean, Raw was being pushed as an A show. It was mainly because of the 25th anniversary. I think that's pretty much the reason why Raw won the bragging rights at Survivor Series. And now you have to imagine, based on the moves that were made, it looks like, and you said it, SmackDown Live is looking like the new age show. And I'll enjoy the nice run we had with Raw, but I think SmackDown Live is now going to be the age show. This reminds me of 10 years ago, right around 08, 09, when SmackDown Live, SmackDown back then, Friday Night SmackDown back then had the big names, like your Triple H's and your Undertakers, your Jeff Hardys, your Edges, and big shows, and a solid women's division with Michelle McCool and Maryse and Maria leading the way, and Victoria and Natty. I mean, 10 years later, SmackDown's looking like the new age show once again. So, as a Raw guy, I'm hurt, but let's wait and see what happens come Monday night for that first Raw in St. Louis, and then that first SmackDown in Louisville next week. So, great moves all around. Only one bad name in R-Truth, but other than that, MF, damn, man, that list of talent, wow. One bad name, that's it. One, R-Truth. Other than that, you're loaded. So, get ready, MF. SmackDown Live is on its way to becoming the A show once again. Nothing more to say. Let's put the bow on this, and we got a big change to the docket for Strictly Sports. Oh, a big change.
Yes, indeed. First off, I want to say 6 out of 10 as well. It was a great, but just to see it live at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, great experience. Thank you so much, guys. As always, cannot wait to see you guys come back very soon. WWE also in turn said that it was one of the best crowds all year that they've had, and they like that's awesome, man. They said we were loud, we were boisterous. Dasha Fuentes, as far as said, Providence never disappoints. So much love to you guys at WWE. You guys are awesome, and can't wait to see you guys down the line. So yes, this puts an end to our show tonight. Anthony, come on in. Yeah, we had an original docket, but it looks like there was a change, a massive change, and you get to do it.
Yes, indeed. And before I do, I want to share in your sentiments, MF. I mean, what a blessing it was last night to be at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. I mean, we had a blast when we went to Raw in December. 4 months later, we were back there for SmackDown Live. What an amazing night! The crowd was amazing. I mean, it was an electric night throughout. It went by so fast, and being there for the Superstar shakeup and the whole 9 yards. And AJ Styles after the show, you heard what he said. He said that we had the best crowd, that they worked all year. And if he says that, we obviously did something right. So awesome. So well done. Yes, big change to our docket this week. Originally, we were going to get into Jeff Hornacek being fired by the Knicks, Des Bryant being released by the Cowboys, Gronk missing OTAs in our first Major League Baseball power rankings. Scratch that, because I was on my social media, I came across a very interesting tweet, and then I looked into it, and I can confirm that tomorrow night, the 2018 NFL schedule will be officially released. A big 2-hour special at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on the NFL Network. And then on Friday night, 10:30 for Strictly Sports, myself and MF, hopefully Michael Bullock, we'll all be here. And we are going to have our annual Strictly Sports NFL schedule release special. Oh, this is one of the biggest shows of the year, one of the few Strictly Sports shows that I get beyond excited about. No hard time noggin diva stories. We get to actually have some fun with this show. Weeks 1 through 17, we're going to break down the must-see games of each and every week. Man, I cannot wait. So Friday night at 10:30 on the Tone 25, I don't know what year it is. It would be, I believe it's our 7th annual Strictly Sports NFL schedule release show. One of my personal favorite shows of the year. I get to go into Jim Nantz mode, and Matt gets to go into his Phil Simms mode. It's going to be a great night. I cannot wait. Nothing more to say. MF, I'll see you Friday night for that big show, man. Schedule release. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
And with that, we're gonna end the show for the evening. Sorry. First off, I want to say thank you to Anthony Florio as always. Great job. And like he said, we'll see you guys Friday night for another edition of Strictly Sports, 10:30 Eastern, Tone 25. And as always, we got a whole bunch of other things next week. Ridiculously Raw back in its usual spot. Uh, our show will be back on Tuesday night again, back on our usual spot, 10 or 10:30. I don't know just yet. But then after that, of course, our Tony's Take and Mikey's Mindsets makes its return. Until then, Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now. Bye bye.